Hey everyone, it's Lucy from KBeautyHobbit.com. It's time for another Ohora tutorial today. Now I already have a couple of these on my channel and I do encourage you to watch them because I go over in detail about application techniques and some tips and tricks. However, I've recently been using some that have the gems on them, and the application technique is a bit different for those. I've done those a couple of times and discovered some things and some potential mistakes that I'd like you to avoid. So let's get started with that. If you're not familiar with Ohora, they are semi-cured gel strips, meaning they're made from gel, just like gel polish you'd get at a salon, but it has been halfway cured. And you can just apply these to your nails and then finish curing them under the lamp, and they are supposed to look like a professional manicure. A lot of the sets just come with strips like this in different colors and different designs, but then some of them have these added gems. And I think that's pretty trendy in Korea right now, just based on the creators I see on Instagram who are in Korea. Not even nail-centered creators, but just people that I follow. When I look at their manicures, I see a lot of these 3D raised designs. And Ohora is, of course, jumping on that bandwagon and releasing some of their versions as well. For today, I chose this design and marble stone. And this part is the one with the gem or the stone. These come in a light protective packaging because if exposed to UV, including sunlight, they will harden and be unusable. You get one set of strips that just have regular flat designs on them. And then the second set has more of the regular designs, just in different sizes, and these erased 3D element ones, and you can see how far it sticks out. Feels nice and cool to the touch, like it's real metal, and perhaps it is, I'm not really sure what it's made of. You get these mysterious things that come only in the gem packs, and we'll look at those later. That's what makes the application different from any other Ohora nail strip. The prep pads, which are basically just rubbing alcohol, as far as I know. And then the little pack here with a nail file and an orange stick. I tend not to use those. I use some of the other tools that I have, and I will put links for everything in the description box so you can check those out. Just like with regular Ohora strips, prep is going to be key. I don't cut my cuticle. You can definitely do whatever you feel like. A little disclaimer, I am not a professional nail technician in any capacity whatsoever. I'm not licensed. I'm just somebody who's been using nail strips at home for over 7 years, and I've been painting my nails at home way longer than that. I used to do shellac at home just for myself, not on anybody else. Yeah, but I've done lots and lots and lots of nails, so I'm just very experienced in it when it comes to my own nails, but I'm definitely not a licensed professional. The first thing I do is push back the cuticles. I like this metal cuticle pusher. I feel like it does a better job than the wooden one. It also lasts longer. These are not very expensive at all on Amazon. Take the prep pad, and I would say avoid getting your nails really, really wet before this, so I wouldn't go swimming right before applying nails. I probably wouldn't take really long baths if you plan on soaking your fingers. I would just try to keep them dry. Don't put lotion on right before. Of course, this prep pad is supposed to take off any grease, but I just feel like I get better results if my nails are already pretty dry. And you can see my nails are actually dry, not just as far as dry as in not covered in lotion, but just they're dry in general. That's not from the strips. My nails are like that. So don't worry, the strips should not damage your nails. I do have a gentle removal video in my nails playlist, and I'll also link it in the description box with my little floss pick trick, so you can check that out to make sure you're removing these properly. Since I don't know if you watched my other Ohora videos, and like I said, I recommend that you do, I will show you one nail that is not a gem nail, just so you can get an idea of how those are applied. You would pick a size to fit your nail. These are stretchy, so if it's a little bit too narrow for you, you can stretch it sideways to make it wider, or you can stretch it a little bit lengthwise to make it a little bit longer and a little bit skinnier. For me, thankfully, these tend to fit right out of the package pretty well, and you don't want to go over the cuticle at all. I actually see some even brand videos that they just try to make the application look as quick as possible and as simple as possible. And it's not that it's not simple, but it's not a 2-minute process either. And I see sometimes in even official videos that people get their strips over the cuticle, and I just know that it won't last. So I gently picked that off. These do have a little protective layer over the top of them. I remove that first and then put it on the nail. And I use one of these. It's a rubber cuticle pusher. Again, very, very inexpensive, but super useful. So at first I just take my finger and push this down nicely. I tend to hold over or hold back the skin of the finger a little bit just to make sure that the sticker doesn't go over the cuticle. And I press it down like that. And then I take my little rubber cuticle pusher and really go over the edges to make sure that everything's nice and pushed down. Don't push too hard though, because these are still semi-soft because they're only semi-cured, and I'll show you here on the end. If you push too hard, it will dent. You see that? Once they're cured, that will no longer happen, but until they're cured, that can happen. The next step is to trim or clip the sticker. And depending on whether or not you want to keep the length of your nail, you can just clip the sticker, or you can even clip a bit of your nail with it if you want your nails a little bit shorter. And it does not have to be super perfect here, because after curing we will file the imperfections away. I tend to do my entire hand, actually both of my hands, before I cure them. But that's how you would do the normal non-gem finger. In this specific tutorial though, I want to focus on the gems. And here's the thing with these. These little, what they call Ohora protection strips, need to go under the nail with the gem on it. So it's your nail, then the sticker with the gem on it. I asked the brand, or try to ask the brand on Instagram a little bit of what the rationale is for this, and they said that it's to protect your finger. I'm really not sure how that protects my finger, like what would the gem exactly do to it, but it sounds like it maybe is to just make sure that the gem stickers adhere better. So I'm not really exactly sure still about the rationale. So these also have a little protective layer over the top. I remove that first. Ohora says that you don't have to be very precise with these, as far as they do not have to match your finger size correctly, that they can be a little bit more narrow than your nail and that it will be still okay. Now, I will tell you from personal experience, that does not look the best with clear backed nails. I took some pictures of my last manicure and I'll put them here over the video or insert them in the video. But basically what happens is you have this sticker and then you have your main sticker, which the one I had was with a clear back. The set I used was the Dalgona set, this one, and the ones with the gems have a clear backing. And the day one it looked fine, day two it looked fine, by day three little pieces of dust and lint started to get in between the edge of the clear sticker with the gem on it and this protective sticker. So I recommend getting them as close to being the same size as possible. Okay, this one fits my thumb, so I'm going to go with that one and just gently peel it off. These are a lot thinner than the regular Ohora stickers. These are not gel, I don't think. I'm not sure what they are, but the same principle. We don't want to overlap the cuticle, so I usually put it as close to the cuticle as possible without overlapping. Kind of gently drop it, because if you are a little bit off center or something, if you just gently drop it and don't push it down right away, you can still reposition it a little bit. Okay, and then push it down like that. And it's very thin. Okay, next up is to pick the size of the gem nail that fits your thumb. And I think for me it's going to be the smallest of the gem nails. I really wish that Ohora would make smaller sizes of the gem nails, because for my hands, these only fit my thumbs. Even the smaller of the gem ones only fits my thumb. But I think it'd be really cool to have a gem nail as like a ring finger, or maybe this pinky finger or something like that, but no. And I'm guessing it's because all of the gems are the same size. Even when the nail gets bigger, the gem still stays the same size, so they probably just don't make them small enough to put them on the smaller nails, but that's just a speculation. These do not have a protective film over the top, so you don't have to remove anything there. All you do is peel them off. Be careful here, they are a little bit harder to peel off sometimes, and instead of pulling hard on the sticker because you can distort it, what I do is I grab the clear backing and fold it and pull the clear backing off without putting too much pressure on the sticker. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, but the first time I was trying to remove a gem nail from another set, I pulled too hard. It was getting stuck, and the gel started to pull and get distorted by the gem part, so I don't recommend doing that. Okay, now we just apply it the way we did all the other ones, as close to the cuticle as possible without going over. And I think this one might be a little bit too narrow for my thumb, so I'm going to hold the gem down and pull a little bit and try to stretch it a little. Okay, a little pause. I've never had this happen, but check this out. So this nail, actually, once I put it on, I saw that it was too narrow for me. Even though for the gem designs, I always use the most narrow one. For this specific one, it was too narrow for my thumb, so I was trying to pull it off, and look what happened. The little gem thing came off. And this has actually been my biggest gripe with the gem nails. I've worn 2 sets now. On the first set, the gems started to lift off after a little while. They never completely broke off, but they were lifting and I could tell. On the second one, on one of my thumbs, the gem completely came clear off before I even hit a week with these. I redid this thumb. And I'm probably not going to edit that stuff out because I feel like you guys need to see that. You need to know what these are like. And I do think they're super cute and a lot of them are really pretty. And once you put them on, it does feel really nice to have a little 3D something something on your nail, to be honest. But is it the most long-lasting thing? Not so much. So I went up one size. I put on another clear sticker. Thankfully, there are plenty of those in my size. So now the key is going to be not to get this to go over the cuticle because these are now quite a bit wider than the other ones I had. I'm gonna drop it down gently, push it onto the sides, push it onto the sides here, smush it down, and then take the cuticle pusher and gently but firmly rub all around, especially at the cuticle line. So that's where you can have lifting. Okay. And I'm going to trim both the clear protective sticker thing and the top layer all together. If it's not clear yet, this is definitely not a sponsored video, and even my sponsored videos are incredibly honest. So I do like Ohora. I think they have cute designs. I'm just not sure about the gem stuff and being long-lasting. But it is cute. And actually the Dalgona set lasted me, other than that one gem falling off, pretty well. Well, the gem fell off and I could see little pieces of fuzz starting to collect between the nail and the sticker on the sides of the thumbs. There it is. Let me finish my nails off camera and I'm going to cure them because that's one of the required steps. And then I'm going to show you a couple little tricks if you're going to use a top coat, because that is a bit different also for these gems versus the nails with no gem. I'm finishing curing the second hand. I already did this first hand. Technically you can stop right there. Curing is the last required step. However, I really find that adding a top coat makes the nails look better, the manicure look more like a real manicure and not like stickers, and it just makes everything last longer as well. Now that the nails are cured, you have to shape them. Well, I suppose you don't have to, but I choose to file a little bit because after my cutting, you can see they're not totally perfectly even, and you don't want to file the stickers before curing them. And again, some of the Instagram videos, they file before curing, but that's just, it's very difficult. I started doing that when I first did Ohora a couple years ago, and it is very, very difficult to file soft semi-cured gel before it's fully cured. My tip for filing is to go in one direction, so don't do back and forth. I like to go sort of down like this. And you shouldn't have to do too much unless you're really trying to reduce the length of your nail, in which case I would recommend trimming your nails before curing your strips because that's just too much filing. But I do minimal filing just to make them nice and smooth. Then I recommend trying to get all the little nail dust off before you do the top coat, because that tends to get trapped under the gel top coat. And if you're wondering about the orange gloves, those are just UV blockers. Since I'm using a lamp, I like to put those on because I don't want any unnecessary UV exposure. Now to the top coat. I usually really like the Gelish brand, but lately I've been using this one. It's not an Ohora brand. This is called Press On Glaze Stop Gel. It's just a one step and one cure, and you don't have to wipe it off. If you've used gel polishes before, you probably know that the top coats usually leave behind a tacky layer that needs to be wiped off with an alcohol wipe, which is not a huge deal, but this one doesn't have to be wiped off with that, so that's kind of nice. Alright, just like with the application of the strips, let me show you first how I would do a top coat on a strip that does not have the 3D design. And again, if you feel like you want a little bit more information on that, or just a little bit more detailed tutorial for the Ohora strips in general, I invite you to check out my other two Ohora videos. Those are very detailed. In this one, I really wanted to focus specifically on the 3D part. What I'm going to do first is cap the free edge, which is this edge right here. Right now you can see very clearly that there's a nail and then there's the sticker, and especially since the sticker is black, it's pretty obvious. After we're done with the top coat, it shouldn't be as obvious. I start by doing that, and the reason I do that first is because if you do that last, after you do the whole nail, you will have a ridge right here at the tip of the nail. You can see right now there's a little ridge. We're going to smooth that out by applying the top coat to the rest of the nail. And sorry, my camera keeps going out of focus. It's just very tricky to maneuver here to paint my nails with a camera between me and my hands. It is definitely not for the faint of heart, but I'm trying my best. That's how you would do a regular nail with no 3D design on it. So what are we going to do with the 3D design nail then? We have three options. We can just not do a top coat, which I don't want to do that. We can cover the entire thing, including the gem, or the metal thingy in this case, with the top coat. I tried that, and that is okay for maybe 3 or 4 days, and then the top coat tends to start to peel off of the design. It doesn't peel off of the rest of the nail, but it starts to peel off of this 3D portion, and I'm guessing that's because this portion is the one that gets the most friction. Obviously it's raised, it probably is the one that comes in contact with most surfaces, plus it's a thumb. So that's definitely like one of the busy fingers, right, is what I would call. So what I've been doing is this. I'm going to cap the edge just like I did with the other one. And I'm sorry, it might go out of focus a little bit again, but that's okay. This isn't the important part. You already saw me cap the edge on the other nail, and the technique is the same. And here comes the tricky part. I'm going to try and paint around the design. So I'm going to go to the edge here, not getting my hand, and I will come in contact with the design on the edges. That is completely fine. And if anything, I'm kind of hoping that it will keep that design on there. I mean, you saw the other one fell off, right? We don't want that. I don't want that. I spent time doing my nails, and I did get some criticism on my other videos that, oh, you have so many unnecessary steps, this is so long, this isn't how you should be doing it. And my answer to that is, if I'm going to take time to apply these things, whether it be, let's say, half an hour or 45 minutes, okay, maybe my extra steps are adding 10 extra minutes. And on video, yeah, it takes me longer when I'm filming because I'm explaining it and I have a camera here, etc., etc. But fine. If I'm going to take any amount of time doing my nails, I want them to last as long as possible. And I will take a few extra minutes for a couple extra steps to get another several days of perfect wear. That is fine with me. So this is how I do the 3D ones. I cap the free edge and then I kind of paint around them. And the other two ones that I've tried, they didn't have this middle section, they didn't have that dent in the middle. I am not going to do anything about that dent. I'm just going to leave it alone. I'm not going to get the top coat in there or anything, but that's how I do it, and then cure. So let me finish the rest of my nails, cure them, and then I'll show you the very final product. Here they are, fully cured, filed, and then with a top coat on, which is also cured. And this is what the 3D designs look like. I don't know how they will last. Hopefully better than the little one that I tried to take off. But if you are on Instagram, you can find me at KBeautyHobbit on there, and I have a nails highlight where I tend to post little updates on how the nails wear, because it's not always possible to put them in the videos. But you can definitely check that out, and you can see also how the other ones were. And remember the little pinky with the very, very clear separation of nail and sticker? I mean, it's still there because of the colors. Like, we can still see the white nail and the black sticker, but because of the top coat, they're now one unit. I don't feel any ridges. It all feels nice and smooth and glossy. I don't expect any issues with these nails. I'm sure they'll wear just fine because Ahora's been wearing just fine for me, but these I don't know. If you tried any other brands, or if you tried the Ohora with these 3D designs, please let me know in the comments how those were for you, or if you have any tips and tricks, or if you have other brands that you know wear well and last well and actually keep the little 3D part longer than a week. Please also let me know. But thank you very much for joining me today. Check out my nails playlist for other videos and tutorials. I hope you're having a wonderful week. You can find me on Instagram at KBeautyHobbit, my blog KBeautyHobbit.com, and in my private Facebook group Korean Beauty Fanatics. I will see you in my next video. Until then, please remember to always listen to your skin. Thank you so much. Bye.